Sade is the name of a singer, but also the name of the band that she fronts. So she was born in Nigeria and she's half Nigerian, but she was resident in the UK since the age of 4. After she finished her studies, she modelled briefly and then started a singing career. She formed the band in about 1984, made the first album, and it was hugely successful. So the band have existed since then, but they haven't done a lot of albums. The gaps between the albums seem to get bigger and bigger as time goes by. I think between the last two, it was like 8 or 10 years, something like that. But they still officially exist. But they have periods of hiatus. So they have had 6 albums in total to date.
Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a review of the album Promise by Sade, which was released in 1985 and was her second album. So this is a request review. It was requested by a YouTube user by the name of Dan Former, spelt with an H after the D. Hi, Dan, if that's an appropriate thing to call you. This is a user who has requested reviews before. And so I do request reviews. Normally, most of the reviews on the channel are I'm working my way through a list of the 3,000 best albums of all time, according to a website called Acclaimed Music, who have amalgamated critics' lists from through the years. It's been a huge undertaking of theirs, and they've so it's a bit like Metacritic. And I'm working my way up from 3,000 up to 1. Will I ever get there? Who knows? I'm just over 40% of my way through. Currently, it's going to be, in total, probably a 10-year project. And I'm on nearly 4 years through, I think. That's by the by. Occasionally, I step off this to do request reviews. If you want to request a review, it's really easy. All you need to do is to leave a comment on any of the videos on the channel. But because of the way YouTube have changed the way they notify creators about comments, then there is a chance that I will miss your comment. So what I do now is I will always reply and acknowledge that you've requested a review. This is not a promise to actually do a review. There are reasons not to do reviews sometimes. Sometimes that includes reasons that I don't want to tell the person who's done the request. Sometimes I'll just quietly not do it. And it can take me a while to get around to it. I think on this occasion, it's going to be pretty quick because I haven't got many on my list. So if you want to request a review, just leave a comment. If I don't respond within a couple of days, then do it again. I'm not going to get cross with you. So that's fine. Right, on to this, back to this album, to actually do a review. So there are 2 Sade albums on the list that I'm reviewing, but not this one. And I've already reviewed one of them, and I can't remember off the top of my head which one. I've heard this album actually quite a few times because I have a copy, and it's actually my most familiar Sade album. I would describe this as being kind of, well, as a broad thing, AOR, which is album-oriented rock or adult-oriented rock. And this was particularly a thing in the 80s. And my theory is that there were a whole lot of people who were acts from the 70s who were kind of, charting hits, and then their focus shifted to be more album-focused as their audience got older and their focus became more album focused. And I think this is particularly noticeable for me because I'm in that category. And so I particularly draw attention to people like The Police and Sting and Tina Turner and Dire Straits and acts like that. And I think Sade came out in the 80s as one of these more album focused acts. There were singles that did stuff in the in the charts, but there was a focus on selling the albums. Maybe I've just got this completely wrong, and it was just my own focus that shifted. If you've got an opinion, let me know. Leave me a comment. Anyway, stylistically, I would say that this is it's been listed as smooth soul or sophisti pop, or certainly other Sade albums have. And I have no reason to disagree with those. So smooth soul is kind of like soul music, but it's got this kind of smoothness to it. Sophisticpop is pop that's kind of got a jazz element to it, and again, sometimes a smoothness to it. And this is soul music, really, with a fair slice of jazz, particularly in the chords and particularly in the use of the sax. So there are several things that I like about this album. One of them is the band. Although it's quite a produced sound, it's a very 80s kind of production, I would say. They're actually playing live in the studio, and it's got a great feel to it. So there are, especially like the bass. I always focus on the bass because I'm a bassist. And there's often fretless, which was hugely popular at this point in time, and the slap, which was starting to become quite popular. The sax, there's some really nice sax playing on this album, and the percussion, there's hand percussion going on at times, and I often really enjoy that. And this gives the album a feel of gentle grooves, which is nice. Then the central feature isn't really the band, although I'd say they're doing a good job, and it's a bit kind of maybe not pulled out strongly enough by some other people. Sade's voice is definitely the central feature here, and I'm going to describe her voice as being smoked silk. It's kind of got a smoky but softness feel to it. And the phrase popped into my mind as I was thinking about it and listening. It's like a combination of chic and dignity, which is, yeah, interesting. I can't imagine her panicking. I think that's a strange thought to have. The end result, therefore, is kind of mellow, jazzy soul pop. And somehow, and I think this comes through both in the singing and the playing, I would say it's got more heart to it than a lot of its contemporaries in terms of soul around this time. And thinking of stuff like um, uh, yeah, there's so many songs popping into my head and I can't remember the names of them. Reunited was a huge song. I can't remember who it was by, and it's just naff. This isn't naff. This is just it isn't soulless. It's got heart to it. Some critic, less kind to it than I am, called it wallpaper. They said there wasn't a lot to it. And it's usually when I disagree with other critics, it's because I don't like something that they raved over. This is the opposite way around. There were other critics who did like it, but I feel that there are qualities here that either they missed or they didn't care about. The public certainly liked it, and it sold well. Some of the songs are fairly personal. Most of them, they're a kind of chic romantic uh, kind of flavour to them. Sweetest Taboo was a huge hit. It's okay, but I think what my favourite tracks on the album are the more gentle tracks, like You're Not the Man, which are more pared down and stripped back. So, user Dan Former, thanks for the recommendation. It's not a new experience for me, so it's not something that I'm going, oh, I'm really pleased you introduced me to that. But I do mildly love this album. So it gave me an opportunity, a reason to listen to it again and to review it. So here is your review. And for everybody else, obviously, here it is. You can listen in on our private conversation about this. If you have heard this album, know this album, like this album, hate this album, whatever your opinion is of this album, I really would be interested in knowing what you think of the album. So please will you leave a comment. But that's it from me for now.